Well, we mentioned the other like details.
All start. Everyone look forward. There's no issue. Please be seated.
Dr. Freckleton.
Thank you, Your Honour. Pursuant to Your Honour's request, we have spoken with Acting Commander Sean Gill, Senior Sergeant Meacham King, Senior Sergeant Mark Clemens, and Acting Assistant Commissioner James Gray Spence. You will be able to see the background of each of these men in the TRG as follows. Paragraph 4 in respect of Mr. Gill. Paragraph 3 in respect of Mr. King. And I'm referring to their first affidavits.
Yes.
Paragraph 1 and paragraph 6 of Mr. Clemens, and paragraph 6 of the affidavit, or statutory declaration I should say, of Acting Assistant Commissioner Gray Spence. Each of those men have said the same thing and requested it be passed on to you. To the best of their knowledge and recollection, they have not previously seen the document to which you asked that their attention be directed, Your Honour, which is the document purporting to be a certificate in respect of the 2013 winner of the Nugada Award. Now, Your Honour, we are prepared to and most assuredly will conduct further inquiries in respect of these matters of relevant personnel, and we'll conduct those inquiries in respect of all 3 documents, and we'll do so with expedition, but we've not been able to do more than I have described to you in the half an hour or so that was available. In those circumstances, I repeat my submissions in relation to the application for an interim non-publication order in respect of all 3 documents.
Yes. Does anyone wish to say anything further?
Your Honour, just before you make a ruling on that, could I just invite Dr. Freckleton to inquire as to whether or not the other 2 certificates have been the subject of inquiry at this stage?
They have not. Your Honour asked about one document. We had very little time. We asked about one document to 4 different people in under 30 minutes.
Thank you.
Pardon me, Your Honour.
Yes, sorry, I forgot that you wished to be heard. Sorry about that.
Just briefly, Your Honour, our submission for Prime Committee is we adopt what Mr. Bolton has said. In circumstances where our instructions have always been to expose and fight racism and to get to the truth of this entire matter, which, as Your Honour knows from our client's position, includes a mosaic of issues. The fact that there's an uncertainty of provenance of some documents or a conflict in legitimacy or provenance is no impediment to publication or the administration of justice in circumstances where the documents have already been described in detail in court and the evidence surrounding them has already been the subject of a number of series of questions. The administration of justice includes the proper understanding of what's been happening in court, and these certificates, true or false, are now an important part of this week's narrative, and in our submission should not be subject to a non-publication order.
Your Honour, for the record, the Walker Lane and Robertson family adopt their position of the submissions of Naja and the Paragroup Committee.
Thank you. In my view, it's not just a question of reliability, authenticity or uncertainty concerning these documents. At this stage, there is a lack of evidence concerning the provenance of the documents. Given the incendiary nature of what the documents purport to be, in my view, an interim non-publication order of short duration is necessary to investigate their provenance. It's necessary in order for me to determine whether or not the images should be released to the public, and I require further information to finally determine that issue and whether it is contrary to the administration of justice to publish the images. Accordingly, I make an interim non-publication order to preserve the position, and I will provide a timetable in which further submissions can be made as to whether or not that interim non-publication order should be maintained or lifted. That will be a timetable will be communicated to the parties by counsel assisting.
So, please.
So the interim non-publication order is in relation to the images. There is no order over what has been led and heard in evidence. The next sitting day will be the 27th of May, which was the week that had previously been allocated for submissions. There are no other suitable dates to the various persons, and I respect the fact that arrangements have already been made, and that is the first available date for the parties and for Mr. Rolfe to return to continue his evidence. The exact timetabling of that week, again, there will be further communication by counsel assisting with the parties to determine what days are set aside for any additional or continuing evidence and what else might be achieved in that week. Are there any other matters that need to be resolved today?
For our part, Your Honour, we identify a significant benefit to most, if not all, of the parties and to the general community in bringing this long-running inquest to a conclusion. And if that means that the time allocated to oral presentation of submissions, in addition to written submissions, is truncated, we would have no objection to that course. That said, there is the outstanding issue of the claim of legal professional privilege and the call for the document that remains to be determined. There may need to be a timetable in relation to submissions in respect to that.
We'll make sure there's a timetable in relation to that as well.
Thank you, Your Honour.
I think Your Honour already set a timetable for written submissions.
And that will have to be adjusted, Mr. Bolton, because we will not have completed the evidence.
Would Your Honour consider maintaining the timetable with a view to allowing the parties to make supplementary oral submissions in the week of the 27th of May in light of the further evidence that will be received, presumably early that week?
What I anticipate, and haven't formed a fixed view, Mr. Bolton, is potentially hearing some oral submissions that week, which would then be supplemented by written submissions.
Right. Okay, hadn't thought of that. I'll sit down.
In that case, I'll stand up again. Sorry, Your Honour. Just wanting to be very, very careful about the terms of the interim suppression order in respect of the images. Can we assume that it is open for the legal representatives for the Northern Territory Police Force to show these images to such people as need to see them in order for us to undertake our inquiries about their authenticity?
Yes, there's no issue in relation to that, I don't believe.
Thank you.
And that will be reflected in the order.
There will be, as I anticipate, further summons that I will invite Your Honour to issue. It doesn't need to be dealt with now, can be dealt with administratively out of court, but to make sure that we exhaust this inquiry into these certificates, which include potentially a summons to Northern Territory Police to produce what other information they have in respect to any award that was provided or any physical objects that exist, given what we have in the documents already provided, the statements as to the existence of a physical award. So I anticipate that summons being issued. So no doubt that if those items exist, they will be held, I've got no doubt, safely until that summons can be issued.
It will be.
Similarly, with respect to the remaining 7 pages, I note that Mr Officer is an officer of the court. I have no doubt, well, perhaps Your Honour wants to invite him to give an undertaking that they'll be kept safely if they are not going to be required to be.
I think Mr Officer's effectively given that undertaking through Mr Abbott. Is that correct?
As an officer of the court, that is given.
Thank you.
Sorry, please.
It has been a lengthy week. I thank you for the care and attention to detail that continues to be shown to the very important issues that we are inquiring into in this inquest. It is unfortunate that there is a further delay. However, to rush it at this point would be a disservice to the work that has already been engaged in, and I do not wish to do a disservice to the important issues that are currently being aired and have been aired during the course of this inquest. And we will adjourn to the 27th of May.
And the Coronial Court has considered.
I understand.